I get out of my dad's black pickup truck and rush up the concrete ramp up to the front door. My mom is staring through the right window, eyes widened with giddy, as she lets out a delinquent smirk of mischief. As I open the door, she greets me unusually, pinching my cheeks and giving me a wet-nosed Eskimo kiss. Something smells fishy, and it's not the Filipino soup that's boiling in the kitchen, at least figuratively speaking. Go look what you're about to do, she says in her broken English/pidgin/Filipino accent. You think that after 40 years in America, her accent shouldn't get thicker. But turns out, my mom likes to prove people wrong, just like my brother Josh. Without telling me, my mom wheeled my brother into my room prior to my arrival. Something was up. Not knowing what my mom meant by, go look what he's doing, I only had 3 things in my mind. 1, Josh tore up his room looking for clothes to wear, an amazing feat to do with only a joystick and a set of wheels. Or 2, he was yet again throwing one of his violent temper tantrums because he didn't get his 3rd new pair of shoes this year. Or 3, he had accomplished the first 2 mentioned, only this time Tropical Storm Josh traveled 2 feet north into my room. Josh is unlike any other person. No, not because he has cerebral palsy. Not because he can't walk, talk, eat, or use the bathroom on his own. No, he is unlike any other person because for someone who's constrained into a wheelchair, it is borderline scary. Hell, what am I kidding? It is an outright natural disaster, a call for a state of emergency for the damage Josh can ensue. I close the door behind me, wondering what kind of mayhem has unfolded. And so, my mission begins. Operation Josh Relief begins. I call it his name. Josh! The way my house is X-shaped, sound travels effectively to every corner. My sisters use this benefit a lot growing up. By my strike of luck, I was always in the kitchen whenever I heard, "Can someone grab me a glass of water?" On the downside, the traversing sound waves make it harder when you're actually trying to look for someone. You better be good at the game Marco Polo, because those polos come at you from every corner like a Ralph Lauren outlet store. Josh! The sound of his voice trying to mouth, "Here," comes from every direction. "Where are you?" I continue to yell. I hear a faint noise and chuckle, mimicking the sound waves of, "Polo, you dumbass." I never liked that game. Though I assumed he was in his room, I went to the second place I thought he would be. So I turned left and traveled to the northwest corner, family room. This location is where a lot of Rugrats, Power Rangers, Disney Channel original movie watching happened with my brother. Being inches away from the 32-inch big screen, my mom swears it's the reason why me and Josh have bad eyesight. We'd spend hours on end, Josh out of his chair sitting next to me, worshiping Tommy the Green Ranger. That is until one year Josh decided to mature and grow up and limit the TV watching. Being the responsible brother of 2 years, if Josh knew I was doing homework with Tommy, he'd wheel his way up to the TV, take his right foot, kick, and turn the power off button. He'd turn his head towards me, eyes and brows raised, demanding me not before my homework was done. I laugh at myself. Not much has changed. He still will cut me off an episode of How I Met Your Mother if he knows I have something else to do. I approach the family room, look up, and see that same TV there, but no Josh. A smile creeps up the corner of my lips. I know where that fucker is. Better not be stealing my clothes. You think that TV thing was a stunt? His sly ways of stealing my clothes reflects the skills of a true con artist. One morning back in high school, Josh snuck into my room, reached out of his chair, and grabbed my new white Quicksilver t-shirt that I just bought. I noticed he was wearing it once we were going out of the once we were going out of the house to go to school, and I ordered him to put on another shirt. And so he did. He put on a second shirt over my shirt he was already wearing and proceeded out the door unscabbed. I later saw him at school zooming away in his chair and using my then drool-stained white t-shirt. His teacher told me he had taken off that top shirt once he got to school and showed off his new tee. That little shit there. Seeing he wasn't in the family room, I turned and head to the southwest wing where our rooms stood against each other. My right hand glides against the wall, tracing the PVC pipes. You see, the bottom third of the white walls are lined top and bottom with PVC pipes with white material in between. They are the repair work done following the aftermath of Joshua's worst hurricane tantrum season ever. Those were tough times. It happened during Joshua's junior and senior year of high school, my freshman and sophomore year. The transition to high school had been hard for him. As his peers went to dances, watched movies, Josh was at home with his boring parents. I made it harder for him as well, as I too went out with friends and watched movies, except this time without Josh. He'd spend nights moaning and groaning and crying, and come sunrise, his sadness would engulf in raging anger. He would wake up and charge his chair at anything that could break, in which most cases things did. When the power was cut off from his chair, he'd wail his arms with brute force at anyone near him. In fact, he was suspended a couple times for bruising his teachers. Needless to say, he was out of control. During this storming period, the only agency that could relieve him was LBJ, little brother Jason. By then I was in high school, thank God. I was the only person who understood Josh's own method of sign language. I was the only person that understood the contextual reasons of any situation that set him off. After all, I spent 24/7 of the last 16 years of my life in close proximity to him. His teachers would call me at least 3 times a week to assist with Josh's tantrums. I'd bring him back to the special education classroom, hold his fists together, and just sit through the storm. Once calm, he'd sign that he was mad, that he was sick. I never knew what to say after that. All I could do was sit with him through the storm, be his relief. I turned the southwest wing of my house and stopped. My fingers traced the PVC pipe slipped into a fist-sized hole, just short of the bathroom door. I almost forgot. Josh isn't the only one that can puncture drywall. I looked down at my hand in the puncture. Perfect match. Ironically, the black hole was during one of the darkest times in my life. It happened one of those days Joshua hated the world. Coincidentally, that was my day too. My body boiled with resentment and anger. Not a drop of mercy or love was in me. I was mad that I was the only one who could understand Josh. I was mad that I was the one who everyone had to call upon to relieve him. I resented my family for not noticing the toll these responsibilities had on me for the last 10 years of my life. I resented them for not paying attention to either one of us. I hated all the teachers and all the seniors who would ignore my brother. Hell, I hated the school for ignoring my brother. I felt so helpless when it came to trying to make things better for him. I was mad it was happening to him. Most of all, I was mad that it had to happen to me too. That night the hole was made, Josh and I were home alone, fighting in the family room. I yelled at Josh to just stop it already! I was also referring to the whole storm itself. I frantically walked toward my bathroom. I leaned my head against the outside of my closed door, feeling my lips quiver and streams of tears flowing from my face. Through the moans, I muttered, "Stop it already." This time, referring to the storm itself. I just wanted it all to stop. the suffering my brother has to go through, the pain of having to harbor his feelings with my guilt of not being able to do anything about it, and the anger at the world and God for never noticing anything of any of it. I felt every ounce of resentment, guilt, hate, anger cock my arm back and blast through the drywall in front of me. And I felt that hand grab that same arm stuck in the wall, and heard groans of concern. I turned my head towards the sound. Josh starts to rub his chest. Sorry. He then swings his arms left to right. Baby brother. Points to himself. I. Crossing his arms on his chest. Love. Then he extends both arms towards his sobbing little brother. You. I continued down the hallway, bypassing the glass sliding door Josh rammed into and broke during one of his tantrums. My hands are no longer tracing the walls. They are hidden with shame in my pockets after that last memory recall. 2 years after graduating high school, I still carry that baggage of bitterness from that night. It is evident from the microscopic amount of communication I try to have with the people back home, including my family. In this moment, it has been 8 months since I have been back to Kauai. Selfishly, I decided summer in Spokane would do me good away from the stress of being home. There was a lot of people and a lot of things I was running from. So many that I gave up the beach and tropical paradise. But the biggest baggage of all was one I could not carry, one that had been on my mind for some time. Through my own rage and selfishness, I failed to acknowledge how hard my absence is to at least one person. I felt guilty for not considering his feelings. He wasn't the one I was running from. That one person I could never resent for being part of my life. Even with his violent tantrums, never once did I blame him for my troubles. There is never forgiveness needed, nor a short of acceptance felt with us. He's the only person I can count on to never judge anything I say or do, despite witnessing me at my own worst when I avoid, ignore, yell, and throw a few punches to the arms. He has always ceased to let that darken the good he sees in me. He's a person who has the courage to simultaneously challenge me and reach out to comfort me when I don't want it, and especially when I don't think I need it. When with others I have to explain myself for them to even begin to understand the brokenness that is me. In those moments in his presence, none of my life's worries exist, and I am complete. We won't talk or see each other for months, but during those short-lived times that we do, he's still able to make me feel human. And I can always trust he won't say a word to anyone about me, because, well, he sort of can't. He's my rock, my protector. As much as he needed me, I needed him. He has always been that solace in my own storm. I peer into Josh's room, hoping to sneak up on him. I tilt my head and scrunch my face because he's not there. Then suddenly, a high shrill of excitement exudes behind me. I turn around and face my open bedroom door. In that moment, the baggage I carried for 8 months ceases to exist. I finally feel complete. Josh is there, standing in his chair, hysterically, with a sign that says, "Welcome home, little brother. I love you."